Senator Rocky Adams.
Here.
Senator Givens.
Here.
Senator McGarvey.
Here.
Senator Parrott. Senator Thayer.
Here.
Senator Thomas.
Here.
Senator Wilson.
Here.
Representative Graham.
No, that's the
Representative Hatton.
Here.
Representative Jenkins.
Here.
Representative McCoy.
that's correct.
Here.
Representative Meade.
Here.
Representative Miles. Representative Rudy.
Here.
Representative Osborne.
Here.
Senator Stivers.
Here. There is a quorum authorized to do business. Prior to a motion, just thinking about this as we get back together as the Legislative Research Commission. Since the last time we met, one longtime senator and one longtime state representative, both who actually served on the LRC at one point in time, have passed. Representative Bam Carney and Senator Tom Buford. I speak of this as my own recollection of Tom. He was there when I first ran in 1996. I believe he was the second longest serving member of the Kentucky State Senate during or at the time of his passing. As to Representative Bam Carney, Bam came in a few years later than I did, but really got to know him when he was in the leadership role starting in 2016 on. With that, for both of these members, as Senator McGarvey and I often say, we may be political rivals, but we're not enemies, and we can still be friends. And I think it's appropriate that we start the meeting today with anybody who has any comments or wishes to say anything, if there are, to do that. But most important is to have a moment of silence for the two of our members who have passed. Does anybody wish to be recognized to make any comments prior to a moment of silence? Representative Rudy.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have lost two giants. And I think you were spot on when we talked about when you talked about being rivals but yet still friends. Bam was a friend to all, as Senator Buford was, and I wasn't as close to him as I was Bam, but it has truly been a great loss to watch him suffer those 18 months. But I think Bam's legacy will live on, and his family, who are the most eatingest, prayingest, lovingest people you have ever met, they've all said the same thing. He lived 51 years, but man, he crammed a whole lot in those 51 years. And the last year and a half was awful. In the last weeks, he kept saying he was ready to go home. And he wasn't talking about Taylor County.
Thanks, Sid. Senator Givens.
Leader Rudy, well said. And those of us that had the chance to know Bam, we were blessed. We truly were. And likewise with Tom Buford, if you had the chance to know Tom Buford, it was entertaining, it was bedeviling, it was frustrating, but it was always life-giving. You never came away and said, I've had a bored day after you. And I can remember conference trips with Tom. If you never had the occasion to see Tom in a social setting, you've missed something that was a lot of fun, because the Tom Buford that would come out at a social dinner at a conference was unlike any other Tom Buford. He had a heart that was a unique heart. It was a loving heart. It was a teasing heart. It was sometimes, to be frank, for those of us that were in the majority caucus with Tom, there were moments, Speaker, that we struggled with Tom. But there were never moments that we thought Tom was someone we didn't love, and that Tom was not someone that that cared a lot about us. So many Tom Buford stories. I think some of the stories prior to me being here, Mr. President, about his promise to the then governor about the way he was going to vote on a bill and his choice to vote otherwise, and the confrontation that happened afterwards. Those are stories that Tom told the best. But Tom was a unique individual that really, in lots of ways, helped me to discover some things about myself that I needed to, and I appreciate that from Tom very much.
Any other members? Senator Thayer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to add that sometime in the very near future, we are going to have special elections to fill out the terms of these two men, but we will never replace them. Others will come and serve the districts they served, but nobody will ever replace Bam Carney or Tom Buford.
Any other members seeking recognition? Then I would request that we have a moment of silence in remembrance of Representative John Bam Carney and Senator Tom Buford. Thank you. Now, with that, I think I have established there is a quorum. I believe all members have had distributed to them an addendum to our agenda book. It is, want to make sure everybody get it. Okay, everybody has it. It is pretty simplistic. Some of that, I think, was precipitated by the passing of Tom Buford, that we had to make some changes. So with that, is there a motion to approve the minutes of the June 2nd, 2021 meeting, except as indicated items A through G under Staff Committee and Reports, refer pre-filed bills and administrative regs as indicated and approved by items C through F under New Business, including the memo on the Budget Review Subcommittee membership, and accept and refer as indicated items 1 through 11 under Communications? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion and a second. Is there discussion? Representative Jenkins.
I just wanted to make sure that we note for the record on page 21 under the movement from the Cabinet for Health and Family Services that when we went back to a state-based system that we save Kentucky taxpayers an estimated $15 to $20 million. I think that's significant, and I think it should be noted in the record. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any other members seeking recognition? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Senator Rocky Adams. Senator Givens. Senator McGarvey.
I vote aye. Would just like to explain my vote quickly, Mr. President.
Please proceed.
Thank you. I vote aye on today's bill. I'm happy about some of the things that are happening in this, including the strengthening of the sexual harassment policy here in the LRC. I am somewhat troubled by the fact that we talk about communication here in the legislature, and we are taking the executive branch out of the annex offices here in today's vote. That was done without consultation to the executive branch prior to that move being taken. And as we look to improve communication, I just want to point out that is a two-way street.
Senator Parrott. Senator Thayer.
Aye.
Senator Thomas.
Mr. President, I'd like to explain my no vote.
Please proceed.
Thank you, sir. Mr. President, I vote no for the reasons articulated by Senator McGarvey, but I come down on different sides. Certainly, I like the strengthening of our sexual harassment policy. As we've all observed what's going on in New York, we as legislators and leaders of the state need to make sure that there is no instance or actions of sexual harassment that we will ever tolerate as a body. With that said, however, I vote no because I do believe that we should always work closely with the governor to remove the executive budget office from this facility without any consultation or discussion with the governor, I think, is just wrong, and that concerns me more. And so, for that reason, I vote no.
Senator Wilson,
Aye.
Representative Graham,
Senator from Jefferson said. I wish there was more communication, better communications between the administration, but I do know that our legislative body is kind of in a rut in terms of space, and so I'm going to vote yes.
Representative Hatton,
No.
Representative Jenkins,
Yes.
Representative McCoy,
Yes.
Representative Meade, Representative Miles, Representative Rudy, Representative Osborne, Senator Stivers.
I want to explain my vote so that people in the public can understand. We have one office, the OEA, that is not currently on campus, and we pay rent to the executive branch for that. It will be moved back into this facility. We are losing space on the 4th floor for our staff, and because of what's going to take place there, we, by statute, many people who are here voted for being able to do this. In fact, I think then Representative Rocky Atkins, who was with the governor's office, was one of them that instituted this process about how we expand. But the space is needed for us to be able to do this. And as we understood and have had communications with various parties, even though not directly with the governor, they are preparing a stay-at-home work plan. And that end of the building has been rarely used in the last year and a half, with ample resources at the old transportation, new transportation buildings, and the building that was built in the last administration replacing the old towers. So with that, the decision was made to inform the administration with 6 months' notice per statute that was passed back, I believe, in the early 2000s about how we expand. So with that, I vote aye. I believe Senator Parrott has showed up. I don't know if you want to vote, pass, or abstain. If I'm not badly mistaken, there are sufficient votes that the motion carries. Am I correct, Madam Secretary? Thank you. The next item on the agenda is, I will do this, is there any other business that needs to come before the Legislative Research Commission? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.